The lesson outcome for this video is I can use linear equations in point-slope form. This right here is point-slope form for linear equations. It's y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1. And as we have learned in other forms, we know that m is the slope of the line. So we have the slope found right here. And then we know that the x and the y with no sub 1 is just every xy coordinate pair that is on the line. But what about this x sub 1 and y sub 1 right here? Well, x1 and y1, or x sub 1 and y sub 1, is a specific, let me undo that for a second, okay, a specific point on the line. Okay, it's a specific point on the line. So this right here is the x coordinate. Let's abbreviate that. The x coordinate of the point, and this y1 right here is the y coordinate of that point that is on the line. So if you look at this example below, y minus 4 equals negative 2 times the quantity x minus 5, what we can tell immediately from this equation is we can tell what the slope is, and we can tell what a specific point on the line is. So we know the slope, m, is this number right out here. So that is negative 2. And then we know an x1, y1 coordinate pair that we know is on the line. Be careful when you're doing this. A mistake that people make is they put the negative 4 first, right here, and they put the negative 5 right here because it's kind of in order from left to right, but that's not how this goes. We need to find the x1 coordinate that goes here from this value right here, which is right next to the x in the parentheses. So just be very careful when you do that. Now, what you also have to be careful of is this. You might want to write right now negative 5 in this spot, negative 5, because there's a negative in front of the 5. But notice on the general form of the equation up here that it's already supposed to be a minus sign. So let me rewrite this general form here, and you can see this a little better. Okay, so what we see here is that this y is right here, this minus sign is right here, so what is y1? y1 is 4. So we can put that 4 right here for the y value. Okay, we see the equal sign here, we see the m is negative 2, we already wrote that down. This x is right here, this minus sign is right there already, right? So then what's x sub 1 or x1? It is 5. So you need to be careful with that minus sign right there, and it becomes a little bit trickier yet when it's a plus. So we'll talk about what happens there in a next slide. So why is this handy? Well, this is actually really a handy way of having an equation in point-slope form because we know the slope and we know a point that's on the slope right away. So this will actually be really easy to graph, which we will show in a second. So the slope is negative 2. We know it's going downhill. It's decreasing because the slope is negative. And we know that if we went to the point 5,4 on a coordinate plane, that line is going to go through that point, among many others. Okay, so let's look at a couple of examples using point-slope form. I'm going to rewrite point-slope form right here. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So we're going to go ahead and write our slope. Our slope is negative 2, so I'm going to write that right here. And our point that is on the line, that's what point-slope form does for us. A point that's on the line, we're going to find our x-coordinate from right here. Now remember, if the x is there and the minus sign is there, then x1 is 5. So we're going to write the x-coordinate of 5 right here. And then the same thing over here, if y is there and the minus sign is there, then y1 is 4. So this is actually the same one I think that was on the previous screen. So we're going to plot the point. That's where we have to start. We're going to start by plotting this point somewhere on the coordinate plane because we can't start with our slope over here if we don't know where to move down to and write 1 from. Again, it's not the origin. People like to start there and it's not. So we're going to plot the point 5, 4. So 5 on my x-axis, 4 on my y-axis is right here. We got to keep working on plotting points accurately. And then from that point 5, 4, we are going to use the slope -2, which if you remember means down 2 and then right 1, because that's a positive 1. So from here we're going to go, where's my dot here? From here we're going to go down 2, right 1. Okay? So down 2, right 1 is going to get us this point right here. And now if I know that that blue point, 5, 4, is on the line, and I used my slope to get to another point on the line, we know that the line looks like that. Okay, so why don't you go ahead, try the next one, pause the video, and then try it, and then check and see how you did. Okay, so m, the slope, is found right here, so positive 2/3. And our point, again, if we had that x1 and y1 written above this equation, we'd see that the x1 is right here, 3, and our y1 right here is 7. So we know the point 3, 7 is on the line, so 3, 7 is up here. It's actually kind of close to the other line that I have already drawn. So that's my new blue point. It's kind of seems messy. Let's see. Let's just change the color for a second, make sure we can see the difference. So there's 3, 7. I'm going to use the green to notate that point. So the green point is right there at 3, 7. And now we're going to use our slope, and I'll use another color for that as well. Let's use purple. So 2/3, so we're going to go up 2 because that's positive, and we're going to go right 3 because that's positive. So up 2, 1, 2, and right 3 will give me this point right here. So now with those 2 points on the line, we know that this line will be drawn approximately there. Okay, so now this time things are a little bit different. I'm going to show you why. So if we have that general form of point slope form written down, okay, we will see again that the y is there. Let's start with slope for just a second here. So here's our slope. We know our slope is there. Nothing is really different there. In fact, I'll go ahead and write down my slope here. So m equals -2, right? Now we're going to find that point x1, y1. So if you look at things and how they are matched up here, we see that the y is still matched up with y, but this minus sign right here, well, that's a plus sign here in this equation. So we have to think a little bit about what that means, okay? If our general form has a minus here, we actually want to see a minus sign right here. So we can change this a little bit, and let's rewrite. Let's write y, and instead of plus, what's another way of talking about plus? You probably will remember that it's minus a negative. If we have minus a negative like that, it turns into a plus situation, right? Adding. So what we have here, if we rewrite this, is we have y minus, and then y1 is -4, because this minus a minus creates this plus sign right here. So what is our y1 value? Well, our y1 value is -4. It's right here. It's -4 because this minus sign is taken care of here, and so then y1 is -4. All right, so what does that mean over here for x? Well, we still have our slope, and we said that was -2, and now we have this x right here, and we have again a plus. So a plus is another way of talking about minus and negative, and then minus and -1. So the minus sign, or the x is here, the minus sign is here. So what's x1? What's our x coordinate of our point? It's -1. So -1. So here's what you're going to notice. You're going to notice that when it looks like it's a plus, a +4, it's actually going to go in as a -4. If it's a positive 1 in the equation, it's going to go in as a negative 1. Okay, and we'll get used to that. So let's go ahead and graph this. We'll start with our point. We have to start with our point, know where to go. So negative 1, negative 4 is right here. Negative 1, negative 4. And now we're going to use our slope of negative 2. So we're going to go down 2 and right 1. So down 2, right 1 gets us to this point right here. And we're going to draw our line. Okay. This next one, again, I'll use some different colors here for slope and for y-intercept. I'm sorry, for our point. So our slope is right here, 2/3. Okay, the point that's on the line that we know, again, the x-coordinate is going to go right here, so we're going to find that x-coordinate right here. Now again, it looks like x plus 4, so we knew that that plus was a minus a negative. So if you think about that minus a negative, we know that our x-coordinate is negative 4. And then over here, same thing, our plus sign is actually minus a negative, so it's going to be negative 3. So I'm going to plot my point negative 4, negative 3. Negative 4, negative 3 is right here. And then we're going to rise 2 and run 3, so up 2 and run 3 to the right. Again, these are both positive, so up and right. Up and right gets us to this point right here. And we can draw our line. All right, so this third one kind of mixes it up a little bit. All right, so this time we've got, changing colors, hold on one second. All right, so this time we've got our slope right here is 2, so m equals 2. And now our job is to find, again, that point that's on the line. So let's take the x-coordinate, for example, first. So again, if this says plus 5 right here, what is the x-coordinate going to be? I hope you said negative 5, because again, it'll be minus a negative. So this will be negative 5 for our x-coordinate. And then over here, okay, y minus 2. So if it's minus 2, it's what we need already right here. We needed the minus, so what is the y value? It's just positive 2. So again, if it says minus, it's going to be positive when you put it into the point. If it says positive, it's plus, sorry, it's going to be negative when you put it in for your point. All right, so negative 5, 2 on our graph, on our coordinate plane, negative 5, 2 is this point right here. We have to start at the point. And then over here, our slope is 2. And remember, 2 is the same as 2 over 1. So we're going to rise 2 and run 1 to the right. And there's our point right there. So our slope and our point are going to give us this line right here. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and give this one a try and then check back to see how you did. All right, so knowing that y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1 is the format we have for this equation, we know that m, our slope, is negative 1/5. We're going to go down 1 and then right 5. And then we know a point on the line is our x1 and y1 values. So x1 is going to be 3. Again, because it looks like negative 3, but the negative is supposed to be there. So we're going to have a positive 3 value for our x1. And then over here, our y1 value is positive 4, but this minus is supposed to be here. So again, it's going to be the opposite of what you'd think. So instead of positive 4, it is negative 4. Did you get that? All right, so we plot the point 3, negative 4, and that's right here. And then we use our slope, and we go down 1 and right 5. Sometimes people use down and left. We have to go down and right. So down 1 and right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like this point right about here. And we graph our line.